Welcome back to Romanie's Realm. I'm Romany, and today I thought I would show you my setup for One Book July, the original version. This is my one book that I normally use. This is my Filofax. It's a cherry red Finsbury. I love it. I use it as a wallet. As you can see, I've also got my bullet journal in here, all my collections, my diary, my to-do lists, all that sort of stuff is all in here. And I've been perfectly happy with using this for the first 6 months of the year. I like the fact that I can do my everyday pages and then take them out and throw them away when they're finished, but still keep my collections, which means it doesn't get any chunkier all the time. And, you know, I like having my cards in here and everything else. However, the point of One Book July is not just to get to one book. There's a lot of people say things like, oh, well, I'm already in one book, so I can't do One Book July. You can. There is always room for putting your planner on a diet and getting back to basics. I've seen a couple of people are doing that this year. They've basically taken out everything that they don't absolutely need. They've only kept the absolute basics, and they're going to add back in what they definitely need as they go along, rather than just assuming they need everything and not using half of it. And that's a great way to interpret the challenge. I really like that. So I kind of took some inspiration from that, and rather than trying to get down to one book, I'm already in one book, I thought I would challenge myself to see if I could figure out why my Hobonichi cousin has never worked for me. As you know, I'm a bullet journaler. I said I was going to do a video on this, and then I realised I'd already done one. So I'll link to that down below. I've done a couple of different videos on this, how I've set it up. Most of the time, what is that? Most of the time, it is just my wallet and my collections, but I also have my monthly inserts. I just do the vertical list because I don't have a lot going on, but I like to know what classes are due. I like to know when things are expected. You know, I do have the occasional personal appointment, so I've got that all in there, and I kind of use that for my forward planning section of my bullet journal. And then this is just the current page that I've got for odd bits and pieces, but you know, my bullet journal is just the basics. So it's not a big job to change it into a different planner. It never has been, because my system works, and that's the whole point of One Book July. Get your system working and you can move into any book or planner or system that you want, as long as you keep the fundamental way you organise things the same. And that's what works for me. So I couldn't understand why the Hobonichi cousin just doesn't work for me. Has never worked for me. I decided that this year I was going to figure it out, because I don't want to spend money on a Hobonichi cousin next year and have it not be used for its original purpose. I'm using my 2015 Hobonichi for notes. It's actually quite useful because there's not much in the way of English on these. It's all in Japanese. It does have the day, but you can ignore that sufficiently. Whoops, everything's falling out. You can ignore that sufficiently that, you know, just a little sticker or a bit of tape or even a little bit of whiteout, and you don't really have that there anymore. You can use this as an ordinary notebook. Coupled with the fact that you've got basically 12 sections, you can cross-reference things and do all sorts of cool stuff for cataloguing things. I use my 2015 for my astrology, because it's really easy to use it as a reference guide and look at things up. But, you know, I really want to use it as a planner. I've always wanted to use it as a planner, but I've never managed to get it to work. The key reasons that I think I've never managed to get it to work are, most of what I do as a bullet journal, and I don't have an awful lot of appointments and things. So what tends to happen is I take the month and I write in, as you do, you write in your appointments, things you're doing, things you need to remember, you write in your bills, and you know, that's how people use a monthly planner. And then I look at the weekly section and I say, yeah, I don't need that. And then I skip to the daily section and I start writing in my bullet journal. But what happens is, even if I put in my work bullet journal as well, you can see on here, I really don't have that much. I mean, this is from the 20th, Monday the 20th through to Tuesday the 28th. So it's 10 days on a page and a half. I'm basically one personal size page for a week. So I really don't need a page a day for my bullet journal. Then I feel guilty for writing like 3 lines on here. Or I experiment with, you know, adding a chronodex and playing with that, or doing a timeline and playing with that. And then I think, you know, there's only 3 lines in here. I might as well just write it all on my monthly calendar. And I end up putting my bullet journal stuff in here. And then none of this gets used. And I end up using it for something else later on. At least that's what happened with my 2015 one and my 2014 one. Now, I had a bit of a revelation the other day, purely because, and this is going to probably sound ridiculous, but purely because this has been my journal. I love this book. The paper is amazing. It takes absolutely anything you can throw at it. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't warp, it doesn't show through, it doesn't ghost. The only thing it doesn't take particularly well is Copic markers, obviously, because nothing takes Copic markers except Copic paper. But even then, you know, it's not horrendous. It's nothing that I couldn't work with, or, you know, work on this side and then skip this page. So I really wanted to use this mostly for sketching and drawing because it's beautiful paper for doing that. But I've been using it as a journal. So I've been, you know, sticking things in. I have been doing a lot of drawing in it, but I stick things in, I put bits of paper in, I throw in photographs, you know, I collage, I add bits, I put in more photos, you know, that kind of stuff. And see, this page, these 2 pages are completely collaged. And for me, that's a waste of this paper. This was me playing with the idea of moving into this book for the whole month. And then I was like, that's what made me think, no, hang on a minute. I love this paper. I don't want to use it as a bullet journal. I want to use it for drawing on. So why am I putting all this crap in it? And then I thought, well, hang on a minute. I could use my Hobonichi for that. I know, it took me a while to catch on, but I had to get to the point where my journal didn't need to be all this stuff, which is kind of weird, but I don't know, that's how my brain worked. So what I'm doing is this stuff, obviously not this, but you know, the writing and stuff is all going in here, so that in here all I will have is stuff like this, or, you know, more stuff like this and less of this. I started off really well in this book with just a few bits of writing and mostly sketching, and then it's turned into just collaging. And I don't want that, because I want to be able to use this paper for art. I want to be able to sketch in it. It's a beautiful book. I really like it. I love the paper, and I want to use it for what it was intended. So this is my sketchbook journal, art journal, whatever it is you want to call it. But I'm only doing like art and sketches and maybe a little bit of writing, but you know, nothing major. So where am I putting that? Oh, I can put that on the daily pages in here. Here's how I'm using my journal. Once I decided that all this stuff was going to go in here, I immediately thought, well, hang on a minute, I can put notes in here as well. Notes that are, like this is for the video I did on Friday. These are the notes I did on Friday. Not for permanent collections. My permanent collections are still going in my Filofax. That's my wallet. But everything else can go in here. So you can see I've got notes, I've got journaling, I've got stuff I've stuck in. I've only started using it this week, so it's not jam-packed with stuff, but I've gone through and put in I've got some pre-emptive stuff in there for the end of the month. I've put in some things from my magazine that are time sensitive. I've gone through, if I can find any, and at the top of the page, oh there we go, the sun moves into Leo on the 22nd. So I've put that's an eclipse in Capricorn. So I've gone through and put in my moons, my planetary movements, things like that. There's another one. So Saturn goes direct in Sagittarius, and Jupiter in Virgo is opposite Chiron in Pisces. So I've just written those in there. So I've got my pagan planner in here as well now. I've also got my chores list, which I've started doing. Well, it's not really chores, but one thing every day. So like Sunday is bin day. So I've got a little bin. These are the Panache Girl stickers at panachegirl.com. Sorry, at Panache Girl on Instagram and Etsy. Panache-girl.com on the internet. I use her stickers. I really like these. They're colourful, but they're unobtrusive. So Saturday was a spa day because I had a day off. Friday I didn't have a thing. Oh, I did laundry on Friday, so I probably should have a laundry sticker in there. The 30th was a planner day because I was organising One Book July stuff. My meds were renewed on the 29th. So, you know, just a sticker to indicate what the household thing for that day is. So if I'm doing laundry, if I'm doing an exercise day, you know, whatever. There's all sorts of things. But it's not a routine. It's just, you know, like a reminder. Like, I had a day off, so I did a spa day, did my nails, all that kind of stuff. Tidied up my dreads. Sunday is a bin day, so I've got to do the recycling and put all that out ready for Monday morning. You know, so it saves having to write it on a list. So this is kind of a journal. I've got my shopping list. This was a journal bit with some stickers. I wrote about stuff. I've pasted stuff in. I've got, like I say, notes for one of my videos, for my project, notes for a commission, notes for just a quote that I liked. This is I wrote about the Battle of the Somme, of the Silent Soldiers tribute that they did from the National Theatre, and I had a little girl in and I think it's supposed to be a scout uniform, but she looks like she's in uniform. So I put her there and just wrote about that. You know, just odd bits and pieces. 1 month migraine free. Yay! More on that soon. My Aquarius thing for this month, my lunar calendar, and I've put in the signs and everything. Some artwork that I really liked and a quote from the artist. Bits of bullet journaling. You know, it's just... There's been a thing recently, and I'll have to find... I can't remember the lady's name. I'll have to put her link down below. Miss Vicky B sent me a link to somebody's journal where they call it an Omni Journal, where it's an everything journal. That's what Omni means. It's Latin for everything. And that's how I used to work. I used to have one of these and everything went into it. It wasn't beautiful paper, it was just an A5 sketchbook that I used to pick up in the local art store. And I used to throw everything in it, and I'd go through about one a month, which is why I've got 2 boxes full of journals. Once I left college, I stopped doing that because I got all growed up. You know, I had to do the adulting thing, and I had a work planner and a, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then I got back into it again. And now I'm liking the idea of the Omni Journal again. I didn't used to call it that, I just used to call it a journal. But I kind of like the term Omni Journal. It encompasses everything. The thing I like about this is that I don't feel like I have to stick to one particular format. I don't know why, because the pages are actually quite structured. But anyway, once I decided that this was the kind of stuff I was going to throw in here, then it became obvious that this could be used as my bullet journal section. What I'm going to do is backtrack through a couple of weeks of June just to cement in my mind how that will work. I like to do that with new planner systems. Take something that I've already done and was already organised and scheduled and, you know, it's in the past, and see how that would have fit into this. So what am I using my monthly for? Well, my monthly I'm using for my YouTube. Ha! So having decided that this was going to be my journal, diary, notes, commonplace book, Omni Journal type thing, and that this was where I was going to do my bullet journal essentially and my timeline, I was then left with the monthly going, well, what am I going to use that for? And this is what I'm using it for. I'm using it for my YouTube. So not only have I organised what I'm going to do for most of the months, I've got a few days where I haven't got anything scheduled yet, but most of the month I've figured out what I'm going to do. I've also got my 3 bars, because for all videos, whether it's YouTube, vlog, class stuff, it doesn't matter. I have 3 things that I do. I film it, I edit it, and then I upload and schedule it and do a blog post and anything else that needs going with it. That is across the board. That is how I work on videos. And I don't necessarily film, edit and upload all on the same day. Sometimes I will if it's a really quick one, like a creative quickie. Quite often I will film, edit and upload that. It'll take about 3 hours and then that's that done for that week and I can forget about it until next Thursday. But, you know, for everything else, sometimes I will film it today, but I won't edit it for 3 or 4 days. I find, especially with class videos, it's a good idea to film and then leave it to rest for a little while and come back to it, because then you can see if anything doesn't make sense because it's not fresh in your mind. That is working really well so far, and my 3 boxes obviously are my filming, editing and uploading. I haven't updated this. I need to update this because I've got a couple. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I've filmed, but I haven't put on here. I'm not used to using this yet, that's why. But obviously as soon as I come to look at this and go, right, what do I need to do next? I'll know, well, hang on a minute, I've already filmed that one. So I could edit it. And then this helps me plan out this. Because that editing and filming is YouTube stuff. The first thing I edit in the morning is whatever my YouTube video is, and then I film something for YouTube for later on. And then the core of my day in the afternoon is my class filming. So I don't need to write that down because I've already got a list of all my classes and what they are. I don't need to put that in here as well, although I could if I wanted to. But I use composition books to write out all my class plans and everything. I'm quite detailed about my class plans, so all I've got to do is refer to the front page of that where I've got everything listed and just see what I've done and what I haven't done and write it into here. So I don't really see the need to write it in here as well. Plus, I've already got it written on, I'd forgotten about this, the monthly page, the yearly page, I've already got it all written in here. So I don't actually need it on here. My yearly page is, actually that works better because my yearly page just tells me what each day is. Ha! Now see, I've just thought of that. It would not take very long to just write in one word for the rest of the year, like I did here, to say what each of these is going to be. So, you know, one word should be enough to remind me, and if it's not, I can go and look it up. I might do that, because that's not a big job to just copy it out from my composition book, one word across all the way. And then I've got my class stuff, my YouTube stuff, my day, and my journal, all in one place. So let's see if that works for me. And the other thing I found, and I mentioned this the other day, if you follow me on Snapchat, I did mention this. The thing I can't stand about the Hobonichi, and it's the only thing I can't stand, is how big and bulky it was. And obviously at the time I had my cover on. And I thought, well, perhaps it's the cover that's the problem. So I took the cover off, and then of course the cream cover gets dirty. As you can see, I get like, oh, that's actually paint, so that'll come off. There we go, that's better. But it gets really dirty really quickly, which really bugs me. So I reused what was left of my personal planner from last year. This was my YouTube planner. So I took the covers from that, which are just, they're like photo paper, and stuck them on here. And I was going to put some sticky back plastic over the front just to stop this lifting up, because this will get really tatty really quickly if it's not covered. So I'll put some book plastic over this, and I'll probably put some over the back as well. And then I added this, which I've got a creative quickie on how to do this, adding a moleskin style band onto the back. These covers are actually pretty sturdy. They're only cardboard, but they are pretty sturdy. They're certainly more sturdy than a moleskin soft cover. So, you know, they do take the weight of these quite easily. So now I've got a nice light A5 journal, and it's much more pleasing to me. I much prefer it. So there you go. That is my One Book July version 1. I am challenging myself to find out if I can make the Hobonichi work for me, because I really want it to work. It just never has. And if I can make it work and keep it working for the rest of the year, then I will allow myself to purchase it again next year. And if I can't, then I'm not going to allow myself to do it. But this, like I say, this is Omni Journal. If I can use that phrase. Like I say, I'll link to the lady down below who started that one. And yeah, so far so good. We'll see. Sometimes things seem like they're really good for like a week, and then it becomes too much trouble. But so far it's working, and I have room in my sketchbook to just sketch rather than sticking things in and wasting the paper. So there you go, that is my Hobonichi setup. I'll update you on it again later in the month. Don't forget to go and check out Carrie Harling and Miss Vicky B, who are doing their own One Book July versions, and also check out the playlist One Book July 2016, which at the time of filming has 76 videos, and we're only on day 2. Seriously, people. It's getting out of hand. I've only managed to watch about half of them so far, but I am trying. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!